Hello, friends. Welcome back to the table where we do tarot, and we are just going to get a reading started out. Let me grab some incense and get some of that going. And it's like almost noon on Saturday. Feels like the morning though, and energy is shifting into the fall. And it's cool, I guess, because we're having like a warm fall, and then it's like um punctuated by these like cold points and a little bit of rain and stuff. And our area of the country has not had a lot of rain. Um, and that kind of sucks because I don't really like to water my garden. I like to let nature do it. And so I did not have a real successful garden this year, but we're getting the rain right now. You know what? We just got to go through our seasons of growth and not growth. So let us, let me Florida water because it makes me feel better and it smells real good. All right. You should get yourself some Florida water just because, oh my God, because if you don't, it just means that you don't want to feel better than you do right at this moment. So let's start out with the Liminal Forest Oracle deck by MJ Cullinane. And it is coming out on the compass. And that's all about like seeing clearly. You're like seeing clearly. So we're just going to get some messages about what's going to be up in this conversation here. Okay. This is like the most gorgeous deck that I have ever seen, probably. So let's just see what's up. I don't like to play around with a bunch of like rituals and prayer and all these different things. My whoever gives me guidance and all that, we already know what we're doing here. And we already know that protection must be asked by you, not by me. Okay? All right, let's just see what we got going on. We got alignment. All right. So you are in the proper alignment right now, and let's see what all that means. Future, empathy, seed, perfection. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's see at the base of the reading, we have like future and all of this stuff that's on the future card. Like the caterpillar is what stands out most to me. And the caterpillar is all about the future of like, what does that mean? When everybody sees a caterpillar, don't you just think butterfly, right? It's like just innately that thing. And then we've got empathy, seed, and perfection. And what I see about that for sure, about this like seed and perfection, is it looks like the seed was planted. A blue jay is related to like crows and ravens. They're all a part of the corvid family. So it's like family knows how to protect each other. All right. So this guy's planting the seed for this plant that grows for this crow to gain some perfect insight from. Okay. So there's something about that. And like, so when it comes to like the future and having empathy, it's like if we already know that a caterpillar is nothing more than a butterfly to be, that's what empathy is about. Okay. When it comes to like living in the day-to-day world, it's like we all understand that like we all come from the same stuff. All right. So to have empathy for one another, it's that you know that in the moment that you're in right now, that is not the end result of what is going to be. All right. Just like a seed, it's like um you don't feel a seed necessarily, right? Like with that empathy card, you don't feel the potential of what a seed is going to be, but you know that a seed is just potential for this perfect outcome. And that's the thing, is like every outcome is perfect. Okay. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to judge it. It's like the sitting back in a space of empathy is what allows you to detach from the outcomes. Because if you already know that they're going to be perfect because you can feel it, then you don't have to worry about this. Like this dream and shell is kind of what is growing up out of that foundation. And the dream is like, gosh, this is such a beautiful card. Look at that. This is what the moon has been looking like lately, where we had that super moon, full moon. Okay. And it's like once it comes up in the sky, if you can catch it when it's low, it's big and beautiful and orange and it's amazing. And it's like that's what allows you to see your dreams clearly. And once you can see it, then it's like the shell came out right over top of the seed. That's exactly, they're the same thing, right? A seed coat is the shell that protects the potential within. And that is like the essence of like bringing your dream into reality, is that you have to create some sort of protection around it. Okay. If it's just this ethereal thing that you're like, I know I'm going to get there someday, but it's like, you're not like, look at this rabbit. Oh, this is such an interesting card. This is a white rabbit, I guess, but it's more made out of metal. It's like the shell of what was actually contained within. And the black rabbit is the one, it's almost like its shadow. The shadow is like, hey, I know what you are in there, and it's okay. You don't have to be afraid of it. Then this is like the path for the rabbit to move forward. It's like it's only meant for that. So if you try to pursue that path, when you're still in your shell, you're not going to grow to your full potential. You have to like come out of the shell. This little rabbit, it's almost like that taproot that first grows out of a shell, a seed, okay? And then goes through its pathway into the light, right? It's like almost like it's this is like a physical walk, a path, but it's like a seed coming up out of the ground. And it's like that black rabbit is the soil around it to see. It's like, I know what your potential is. Okay. So don't be afraid to come out of your shell. And that's the thing is that your shadow is really the one that coaxes you out because it's the one, it's, it's the darkness that surrounds you when you're in your space of growth. Okay. And it's like, I'm the only one that can help you with this dream. So don't be afraid of me. All right. It's like this card is adrift, and it's like no matter where you are, you can look up. It's so cool that this is there. It's like your dream when you're feeling adrift. What's the same? What's the similarity in this? It's like there's certain things that you can always see the truth of, and that is like the light of the moon. Even though the light of the moon doesn't present you with like a lot of light to see around and what's going on, it's like that is the truth when you feel like in that space, in that liminal space, because it's the liminal forest, when you're in that liminal space of like being a seed that is planted in the ground and you feel like you're being buried, and it's like, well, you have to realize that you're moving towards the light. You might not like exactly know what comes to you in the light or what the world looks like out there, but you know that you're growing. You know that you're growing. And the seed's got to start out underground to grow towards the light. All right. So it's never really truly adrift. It's just, it feels that way in this space before you can actually see what you're growing into. And that was like where we that was sort of like the overarching message of where you are in alignment right now, okay? So no matter what it feels like this concept of future and dream and adrift is on the left side of this. Let me see if I can pull it down to where you can see. It's like future, dream, adrift, empathy, and then all this stuff on the right side is like seed, shell, perfection. It's this concept of like the the space inside of the mind and then the physical space, right? And this concept of being adrift at the top where it's all like coming to a head here is that that can be very scary if you're like living as just the seed, as just the shell, as being worried about like what if I plant myself and I don't grow perfectly? What if I try this thing and I don't grow perfectly? Well, it's like concept of the dream can only happen in your future because you've always known of it. You've always known of it. Okay. And everything that you've come to at this point has been parts of the dream growing into something bigger. And it's with the empathy of understanding that not everybody is going to understand what you are meant to be because you are like in the seed coat, you're in this shell. But the shadows, they're not to be feared. They have always been there with you and sort of surrounding you. Um, because your shadows are your ultimate like internal empathy that allow you to have empathy for others. All right. And that is what puts you in this place of alignment to do your best work, to be the light in the world that has come through out of the darkness, out of the seed coat. So let me go on to this Luna edition, Ethereal Visions Tarot. And this one is just so pretty. Let's see what's coming out at the bottom as we take this out of the box. All right, we got Six of Pentacles. And that is oh my God, it's so nice when we get to see that energy because it's like equal give and take. All right, I'm going to bundle these cards up just a little bit and see if we can get another little message from the tarot. So we were doing a little oracle message. Now we do a tarot message. So Six of Pentacles. Okay. But it comes from the Five of Wands. Like this is what's been going on. Is this little battling, this little like nonsense battling, and you're so sick of it, right? Because the only reason why you're battling is because you know that there's a better way to do all this. There's a better way in life for us all to get along instead of this battling. And that is for like in the physical world to not be afraid of equal give and take, to not fight against that. But we're always so like We're always put in this place of where we have to defend ourselves because when you're young, you start out, let's see, Seven of Pentacles, that is like waiting for things to grow. And boy, that can be a frustrating time. But you have to wait regardless. It's like the Seven of Pentacles card is about that seed growing into the fruit that is ready for picking, and that takes seasons and seasons. It's not like in nature. It's not in nature where you know what the seasons kind of hold. It's like in the seasons of life where it just really takes you a lot of time to get there. Just, you know what the dream is. You know what you've been seeing for your whole lifetime. And you've just had to wait for it to grow. But and you go through a lot of battles, that little Five of Wands. You go through a lot of battles and they don't kill you. They might hurt you. They might hurt your feelings, but it's just the process of like fighting for what's right in this world. I think that might be all that we need. Let's just see if there's anything else that wants to come out. Well, seems like a couple things want to come out. All right. Three of Pentacles. And that's coming together and building stuff because ultimately we live in a physical world. So it doesn't matter how much we know and we sense of what's going on in the energetic world. It's like, what can we have in the physical world that we know to be true? And that is like people on your side. I like this. This is the type of person you want on your side, the Emperor. He's like cool hand Luke over here. He's got his hand. He's not like fighting at all because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He gained the right as the Emperor to like have all the power in the world. Eight of Wands and Six of Wands. So there is like a fast moving energy of like a message that is meant to be about your victory. And the Emperor has been overseeing it because this is just like it's just like a little triangle of power right here. And he's like, don't worry, kid. I've been here. I've been here the whole time. And this is what we've been growing into from that seed, right? All right. So let's see. It's almost like this is one pile, and then this is another. Let's see what we got here. Oh. Okay. It's almost like a masculine and feminine, right? This King of Cups is on the one side of the reading, the King of Cups with Temperance. And it's like there's a lot of time that we spend in our lives fighting against our like emotions as far as like, well, this is an acceptable emotion and that one is not. And so you think that you get better at just sort of pushing your emotions down and ignoring the ones that don't feel good or that you're not supposed to. It's like what you don't realize is the quicker that you get to moving into like comfort with all of your emotions and giving it time to exist within you instead of like pushing it away or not acknowledging it. It's like this King of Cups, I like it in this deck because he also is holding a wand in his hand. And it's like when you get emotionally stable, it's like you have this extra walking stick because it's not like you're trying to just ignore certain parts of your feelings. It's that when you get familiar with them, you know how to work with them over and over and over again. And that is where you get to change. That is like the temperance of transformation, of being able to take the emotions that you have that might be triggered by something in your environment. Because it's going to happen no matter what you do, no matter what you watch or don't watch, there's going to be things that you just like, you have feelings inside and they create something within you. And once you learn to observe those feelings and just let them process and like giving yourself the boundaries that you need around that and the people in your life to protect them from your like feelings. Trust me, somebody can go like a day without communicating with you if it's for everybody's good. If you're just in a particular place where you're feeling some kind of way for a particular day, if you force yourself to try to like be, well, like, you know, I always show up in this way, and so I'm going to try to show up in this way. Trust me, your fuse is going to be shorter on certain days, and you might destroy like people or situations that if you had just given it a pause and given it a break to where you could sit there and feel your feelings for a while, because they're not really yours, especially if you're an empath. You're like feeling the feelings of what's going on in the world around you because there's no boundary against that unless you learn how to protect your boundaries. So I'm just telling you that your inner masculine is coming into such a season of like understanding how to transmute emotions and work with them in the physical plane so that you can have this sort of three of pentacles, okay, in your environment of where you know how to build with people in the proper energy instead of just like trying to show up in the, "Well, I'm just going to be the best of myself possible every day," but you're like really doing this internal battle inside. Like we had seen the Five of Wands come up. Um, all right, so on the other side, this I feel like is a very feminine energy. So, what I find funny about this is that, like, on this feminine side of the reading, there's four cards. On the masculine side of the reading, there's two cards. And I think if we all know a little bit about genders and communications and feelings and things like that, we all know that women have a lot more emotions going on sometimes than men can understand. And because I'm in such strong masculine energy, like in my feminine form, I understand how this works because I have both sides of it, right? And so it makes it a lot easier for me to communicate with everybody because I can see it from both sides. I can see it from all sides. And so I get it. I get it when, like, sometimes women want to communicate something to a man and they'll communicate it and the man's like, okay, cool, but then they keep on about it, right? They keep on about it because they want to give like like a bigger understanding, when really the man was already like, I got your message, I understand what you're saying, now let's move forward. And the woman's like, no, I don't know if you really did, because it's like, I said this because of this thing, that thing, the other thing, like everything in the past, right? So all that to be said, to say that sometimes the woman's way of getting things done, or her getting into her place of where she feels a sense of like security in her own boundaries of who she is by over explaining. Okay. And that's what this four cards means to me. But it comes with good reasoning. Okay. Because women are, they're just wired for more stuff, for multitasking in ways that, each gender is like, has its own special power, and we need to understand that in this like alchemy of life. But I want to say that women, like especially real strong women, they have to carry the burdens of a lot of people. They're kind of like carrying the responsibilities. I'm not saying that men don't do this, because they do. They for sure do. But women do it a lot internally and men do it a lot on the outside, right? Like how they move through the world. Whereas women have just all this going on in their heart, in their mind, in their memories, in their body, the way that we hold on to trauma in our bodies. And so we'll put ourselves in these uncomfortable positions for a long time just because we have this storage bank of like all these memories and burdens and traumas of the past that we kind of like feel that we're connected to, whether or not they are ours. And so a lot of times women have a hard time like letting all this stuff go to just be present in their own power. But it's a path. It's a path of like, listen, you can't be carrying this stuff forever. Eventually you got to like, you're going to set it down and you're like, I got to figure this out in a better kind of way. All right. So I'll put myself in an uncomfortable position until I'm ready to take myself down and figure out, how do I move forward without hurting anybody's feelings, without making anybody feel like I haven't given up on them, or, um, and so it takes some like, this is like bitch mode, right? King of Swords energy. When a woman's like, nah, I was uncomfortable for a long time. I was carrying everybody else's burdens for a long time. I put myself into a position of discomfort for enlightenment. When I come down, I'm coming out swinging, right? With my words, with my thoughts. And so the woman gets like real cutthroat. Now, if you don't move through that period of life, then you never really get into the full power of the feminine energy within you. And I'm not, again, I'm not specifically talking about genders, because um, we embody the energy of feminine and masculine energy like within all of us. All right. So I'm just trying to show you and give you examples of how it really does show up in the physical gender and the way that we move through this world. But in the emotional space and the energetic space, it's like we go through this of like, I'm just carrying, we put ourselves out there as the martyr until we can't anymore, because a lot of times you'll just get sick. You'll get sick and life will take you out in order to give you a new perspective that you weren't willing to like take on yourself, of where you're just like, no, it's me time right now. It's me time. So sometimes things will happen in your physical environment to where you have to stop. You have to stop and you have to get so uncomfortable that when you come down out of that, you're like, all right, I see what the problem was. It was that I didn't have good personal boundaries. So again, you come out real cutthroat and you're like, and nobody knows where it's coming from, right? It's like, how you've been feeling this way the whole time and like you just kind of opened it up now. Like you could have been a little bit calmer about it. And it's like, once once that energy is like projected out, and then you kind of see that it was like, oh, I didn't have to go about it so harshly. That is when you can graduate on into this Queen of Wands energy, where you're like, okay, all right, okay, All I have to do is sit here with my creativity and then it draws people in. The problem is that I didn't really invest in my own creativity before. And so that's why people people were like, you're useful. You're useful to like kind of help me through my problems, right? But if you're just always helping people through their problems, you never really get into your own space of like where you're most powerful. And that is sitting pretty on your throne with that creative wand of like being able to help people through their own problems, giving them a grander perspective that you had to go through yourself, right? You had to go through this process. This is like a timeline process. And once you go through it, it's really the same as this. It's like this transmuting with the alchemy of temperance in order. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. It's not. I was going to say, wait a second. We got the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands here. But again, that's what I say about this King of Cups to where, like, traditionally, he really shouldn't have a wand in here because he's all about the cup, the emotional energy. And the wand is more about this passionate energy. But it's really important that, like, just a King of Wands might lack some emotional grounding for his Queen of Wands, okay, for like the best partnership possible with his Queen of Wands. And so that's really the beauty of where this couple is at right now. It's like really there's a very, very divine union that's happening between them because they're understanding the power of what had to transpire in order to get to this place. Okay. What do you think? You think we need one more like little hint at what's going on here? I'm gonna pull something from this beautiful, beautiful deck, and this is the Horror Tarot, um, which I love so much. It's just the artwork is beautiful. It's really like it's scary, it's dark, but that's where I find some of the most beautiful stuff, like in the shadow where we were talking about the shell card, and the shadow finds you within the shell because it's there surrounding you all the time. These cards are a little bit rigid. I think sometimes that has a meaning within itself of like sometimes people don't understand. Um, I don't know. I think sometimes people don't understand the power that it takes to really have like a loving relationship, and that's what this deck is to me. It's like you have to embrace like everything, everything, and like understand that true love comes from going through the hard stuff. Okay, and the hard stuff right now with this deck is shuffling it up because it really seems to want to be sticky. I have a phone call coming in. Makes me happy. So I'm gonna end this. Let's see. Oh, I put these all upside down, but that's okay. So we have the Nine of Cups, and that is complete emotional fulfillment. And that is what was happening with these like two partners to come together. There was like a real, you had to like go in and figure out all of your own emotions before you could come together with somebody else. And that's what the Nine of Cups is. It's like a personal fulfillment. Then when you move on to the 10, it's like to share with others, because you're in such a space of where you've earned your spot. Okay. So you have the Page of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Ace of Cups. And that is beautiful because it's like this combination of this energy of like where the swords, that's a message coming in, because the swords are like thoughts and ideas and stuff. And it's like the concept is that the wheel has turned for you in your favor because of all of the discomfort that you have gone to. And I just saw 2332 on the timer, and that's like a reflection. That's like a mirror reflection of itself to where you can finally look back and see what everything was for. You can see why it all happened. You know, you felt like this person on this wheel where everybody's just like throwing daggers at you constantly. And it's like, but look at, you came out unscathed. And what that did for you was it aligned you with like God's idea of what love is for you, of what true, complete, like heart space fulfillment is. And you know, you earned it. You earned it by staying strong, sitting there as what seemed like the target because you knew the truth of your dreams, and you knew that like you didn't know what path it was going to be to get there, and you didn't know all this stuff that was going to come through along the way, but you've known it since childhood, right? That's because we are like downloaded with our dreams and our purposes as soon as we're born, you know, even probably before that. But you're like, well, I don't know when it's going to get here, but I just know that that's the truth. And you are finally coming into that truth in such an amazing way. And you already feel it, you already know it, you're already seeing it in its seed form. And you're just like, you know what? I'm not impatient anymore. I'm just excited. I'm just excited for the future because I know how hard I worked to get here. And to hold my own boundaries, even though sometimes they failed, um, that's what taught me how to rebuild them and strengthen them and then protect what is my sacred right and like the sacred dream with your partner. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave it off at that. I love you. Have a great weekend. Bye.